Have you ever wondered if it's possible to see the world without moving? Could we explore distant places, even those beyond our physical reach, using something other than our usual senses? Remote viewing, the ability to perceive things far away, is a mysterious phenomenon that many believe allows us to access information from across space and time. And those who possess this ability aren't just people with supernatural powers. They're researchers, experts, and individuals who have expanded their awareness beyond the limits of ordinary perception. In this video, we'll dive into remote viewing, an unseen realm that not everyone knows about. Does this ability truly exist? And how can it be applied in our daily lives? Join me on this journey of discovery, and you might be surprised by what the world beyond the physical can reveal. Part 1. What is remote viewing? Remote viewing, exploring the ability to see beyond physical boundaries. When we mention remote viewing, many people may immediately think of mystical stories, paranormal phenomena, or even time-bending abilities as seen in science fiction movies. However, the reality is quite different. Remote viewing is not an obscure concept, but rather a scientific field of study that has garnered the attention of researchers and even government agencies. At its core, remote viewing, also known as distant viewing, is the ability to perceive and collect information about a place, object, or event without needing to physically approach it using our normal senses such as sight, hearing, or smell. Instead, the practitioner of remote viewing uses mental energy to see distant things, at vast distances, or even in spaces they have never physically visited. Researchers and practitioners of remote viewing believe that we are not merely limited by our physical senses, but also have a higher level of consciousness that allows us to access information far beyond ordinary understanding. This ability can be developed through practice and mental discipline. One of the most notable stories in this field is the U.S. government's Stargate program in the 1970s, which funded a research project on remote viewing. Experts such as Ingo, Swann, and Pat Price participated in this program, helping the U.S. government uncover mysteries, such as Soviet military bases, without needing to be physically present at those locations. One standout example from the Stargate program is when Ingo Swann accurately described the details of a secret Soviet base, despite having no prior information about the location. Remarkably, Swann described features of the base, including equipment he had never seen, and everything he saw later turned out to be correct. This made remote viewing not just a supernatural ability, but a scientifically researched field with empirical results. Studies on remote viewing didn't just stop at military applications. They extended to fields like medicine, archaeology, and even space exploration. Researchers such as Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff dedicated decades to studying and experimenting with this ability. Together, they worked at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, IONS, an organization focused on researching non-physical phenomena. From these studies, a fascinating discovery was made. Remote viewing could not only be used to see a specific location, but could also allow individuals to see events from the past and future. In some studies, participants were even able to describe events that took place thousands of miles away, with no access to any outside information. One of the first to perform experiments and confirm the existence of remote viewing was Joseph McMoneagle, a former military officer in the Stargate program. McMoneagle conducted thousands of experiments throughout his career, repeatedly describing events he had never encountered before. In one particular test, McMoneagle was asked to describe objects in a secret weapons depot. When the test results were released, every detail he described matched the reality. However, remote viewing has not always been widely accepted as a mainstream scientific field. Many still remain skeptical of its validity, arguing that the results could simply be coincidental. Nevertheless, repeated experiments and real-world applications of remote viewing have shown that this ability is not a hoax or mere hallucinations. While many scientists have yet to fully endorse it, some acknowledge that there are still inexplicable aspects to these experiments that cannot be easily dismissed. Another example of remote viewing comes from Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet. He had the ability to see distant events or future occurrences while in a trance-like state. Cayce helped many people discover the causes of hard-to-cure illnesses or provided information about ancient relics he had never physically visited. As a result, he is considered one of the first historical figures to document this psychic ability. A famous quote by Nikola Tesla, the great inventor of alternating current, can help us better understand the concepts related to remote viewing. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This quote suggests that energies and vibrations are not always visible to the naked eye, yet they exist and can be perceived through other means, such as the human mind. Thus, remote viewing is not just a mystical ability, but also a scientific field with enormous potential. Real-life experiments, stories, and research from experts all suggest that humans can access information beyond the physical limitations of our senses. Could this ability be developed and applied more widely in the future? That is a question that both science and we, as individuals, are still trying to answer. In the next part, we will explore fascinating stories and real-world applications of remote viewing, from historical research to modern-day experiments, to see if this ability could unlock secret doors that have never been revealed before. Part 2. The stories of famous figures and real-world applications. Remote viewing and the fascinating stories of notable individuals. When talking about remote viewing, we cannot ignore the remarkable individuals who have had strange and intriguing experiences. These people are not only researchers, but also those who have demonstrated this ability in real life, with results that science still struggles to explain thoroughly. Joseph McMoneagle, one of the most notable figures in the field of remote viewing, is not only a former military officer, but also one of the individuals who could accurately describe events and objects he had never seen before. McMoneagle, during his time in the U.S. government's Stargate program, carried out thousands of remote viewing experiments. In one experiment, he accurately described a military base deep within Soviet territory without any prior information about the location. His descriptions of the structure, location, and equipment in the base all matched reality later on. This not only amazed researchers, but also served as a powerful proof of the potential of remote viewing. Another remarkable story involves Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet. Cayce was not only famous for his extraordinary healing abilities, but he was also known for his ability to see events from the past and future while in a trance-like state. One of his famous predictions was the discovery of ancient ruins beneath the Caribbean Sea. Cayce described in detail a lost city with architecture, artifacts, and mysteries that had never been known before. Later, archaeologists discovered some of these ruins underwater, leading many to believe that his abilities could not be mere coincidence. Ingo Swann, one of the leading researchers in the Stargate program, was known for his extraordinary remote viewing abilities. Swann could not only describe far-off locations, but also see objects and even strange phenomena that no one could explain. One of his famous experiments was when he viewed the surface of the moon and described structures he believed were artificial before NASA spacecraft had ever landed on the moon. His descriptions were later verified as accurate, causing many to reconsider humanity's potential to break through the limits of space and time. Remote viewing and its real-world applications. Remote viewing goes beyond scientific research and experiments. It has many practical applications in various fields. Medicine is one of the first areas where remote viewing has been widely applied. Many people have used this ability to help doctors diagnose illnesses without needing direct contact with the patient. A notable example is Dr. Richard Boylan, a psychologist who used remote viewing to uncover information that helped treat cancer patients. Researchers believe that remote viewing could help detect cancer cells or health issues in their early stages without the need for complex medical devices. In addition to medicine, remote viewing has also been applied in fields like archaeology and crime investigation. In archaeology, some researchers have used remote viewing to search for ancient ruins or unexplored areas. For example, archaeologists used this ability to locate ruins of the ancient Maya civilization in the Central American jungles. While traditional archaeological methods could not uncover these sites, remote viewers accurately described the ruins they had never seen, providing additional data for scientists to continue their research. In the field of crime investigation, some police officers have experimented with remote viewing to solve unsolved cases. A notable case involves Paul Smith, a former police officer and remote viewing researcher. Smith helped solve a years-long missing persons case by using his remote sight ability. He accurately described where the victim had been buried, and this information helped the police solve the case. Stories like this further affirm that, although not widely recognized, remote viewing could be a valuable tool in many fields. New experiments and the future of remote viewing. Although remote viewing has had some incredible real-world applications, it is still not widely accepted in the scientific community. Some researchers argue that the results from remote viewing experiments could be due to luck or coincidence. However, others believe that this ability may be a part of psychological mechanisms that humanity has yet to fully understand. In recent years, many new remote viewing experiments have been conducted with the involvement of scientists and experts from various fields. These experiments aim to test remote viewing's ability to predict future events or provide information about unexplored areas. Scientists hope that in the future, remote viewing will be recognized as an important research tool in many fields, from medicine to archaeology and even space exploration. But can we trust this ability? Could remote viewing become part of our daily lives in the future? The answer remains uncertain, and the upcoming experiments and research will be key to answering these questions. In the next part, we will dive into scientific studies and the different perspectives on remote viewing, and whether this is truly a human ability or just a mysterious phenomenon that has yet to be explained. We will also explore how remote viewing could be developed and applied in the future. Part 3. Scientific research and perspectives on remote viewing. Remote viewing, perspectives from science and philosophy. When discussing remote viewing, we cannot overlook the important question: does this ability truly exist, or is it merely a product of imagination? To answer this question, we need to examine it from scientific, philosophical, and experimental research perspectives that have been conducted over several decades. Scientific research on remote viewing. For more than 40 years, scientific research has continuously sought to explain remote viewing from both physical and psychological perspectives. Many experiments have been conducted with rigorous methods to test human remote seeing abilities, and some of these have produced results that have made many scientists reconsider this phenomenon. The Stargate program, which began in the 1970s under the U.S. government, is one of the most significant studies on remote viewing. Although the results of this program were never fully disclosed, what we do know from leaked documents suggests that the results of the remote viewing experiments were truly remarkable. Throughout these experiments, researchers like Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff conducted hundreds of trials with volunteers who had remote viewing abilities, and many times, the results were astonishingly accurate. One of the notable experiments involved using remote viewing to describe secret locations, such as Soviet military bases, where the volunteers had no prior information. The accurate descriptions of these bases, from minute details like the position of equipment to buildings and structures, made researchers reconsider the possibility that humans could see things far beyond their normal sensory capabilities. However, not all scientists accept remote viewing as a real phenomenon. Some argue that the results may be explained by psychological factors such as coincidence, unconscious information reception, or the influence of unknown external factors. Richard Wiseman, a renowned British psychologist, conducted several studies on paranormal phenomena, including remote viewing, and he suggested that the results from these experiments might be due to biases in choosing outcomes or external influences. Despite this, proponents of remote viewing maintain that, with repeated experiments and the accuracy of the descriptions, it cannot be denied that this ability is real. Dean Radin, a researcher in the field of paranormal phenomena, argues that remote viewing might be part of an information field that humans can access, a connection between the mind and the universe that is not yet fully understood. Philosophy and cultural perspectives on remote viewing. In addition to scientific studies, remote viewing is closely tied to ancient philosophical and religious beliefs, especially in Eastern cultures. Since ancient times, humans have believed in supernatural abilities that help them transcend the limits of the body and understand what lies beyond the physical world. In Buddhism, the concept of the third eye is a prime example. The third eye is not only a symbol of spiritual enlightenment, but also represents the ability to see the invisible world, events that cannot be perceived by normal senses. This is very similar to what remote viewing practitioners describe: an ability to see into spaces and times that are beyond the reach of ordinary vision. Another example can be found in Indian mythology, where yogis and sages had the ability to see events happening far away or even in other worlds. Indian saints like Patanjali, the founder of yoga, taught that through meditation and practice, humans could expand their awareness and connect with higher realms of knowledge. This is similar to what remote viewing researchers believe, that the ability to view distant events is not a supernatural power, but an inherent skill within all humans that can be developed and practiced. A famous quote from Carl Jung, the Swiss psychoanalyst, helps us understand the connection between the mind and psychic phenomena. I am not what I think, I am what I feel, and I feel much more than I think. Jung believed that humans could connect with the collective unconscious, a hidden reservoir of information that exists in all of us. This unconscious mind may help explain the ability to see beyond ordinary perception, as our minds tap into information we are not consciously aware of. Can remote viewing evolve in the future? One important question many people ask is whether remote viewing can develop in the future and become a useful tool for humanity. Researchers like Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff believe that if remote viewing is studied and developed correctly, it could have wide-ranging applications in many fields, from military to medicine, archaeology to solving everyday problems. While remote viewing is not yet widely recognized in the scientific community, future research and experiments could help expand our understanding of this ability. Perhaps in the future, we will see the development of new technologies or methods that allow humans to harness this remote viewing ability in a natural and effective way. Will remote viewing become a part of our daily lives, or will it remain a supernatural ability confined to mysterious stories? The answer is still uncertain, but one thing is clear. The curiosity and desire to explore the hidden potential of humanity will never stop. In the next part, we will explore how remote viewing can be developed through practices like meditation and mental focus. Can people train themselves to develop this ability? And are there any lessons from experimental research that we can apply in our daily lives? Part 4. Developing remote viewing and its applications in daily life. Developing remote viewing. Practical methods. So, can each of us develop the ability of remote viewing, or is it only a select few who have a special talent for it? The answer is, yes, it is possible. Although remote viewing is not an ability that everyone can access instantly, through practice and training, many people have been able to achieve impressive results. Like any skill, developing this ability requires patience, discipline, and time. So, how can we begin? 1. Meditation and mental focus. One of the most basic and effective methods for developing remote viewing ability is meditation. Meditation not only helps us relax and reduce stress, but it also expands our awareness and helps us access deeper levels of the mind. Practitioners of remote viewing often share that meditation helps them quiet the mind and focus on images or sensations that cannot be perceived by normal senses. In an experiment with participants who had no prior experience with remote viewing, researchers asked them to meditate for a certain amount of time each day. The results showed that those who meditated were able to describe objects or locations more accurately than the group that did not meditate. Practicing meditation helps reduce mental distractions, creating space to access hidden information from the subconscious. 2. Memorizing and analyzing images. Another method used in remote viewing is memorizing and analyzing images. Practitioners often start by visualizing or imagining images in their minds. Sometimes, these images can be vague or unclear, but over time, the practice will help make these images sharper and more detailed. For example, in a famous experiment with Joseph McMoneagle, he was asked to describe objects in a room he had never been to. Although initially, the impressions were vague, after continuous practice, McMoneagle was able to accurately describe the objects, colors, and structure of the room. This is a classic example of mastering the ability to see far through practice and analyzing mental images. 3. Recording and evaluating results. An important part of remote viewing practice is recording the results and evaluating their accuracy. Researchers recommend that practitioners should write down any sensations, images, or information they receive during the remote viewing process, even if they seem vague. Afterward, comparing these notes with actual outcomes will help improve the individual's remote viewing skills. Many remote viewing practitioners have noted that, in their early attempts, they could only receive vague feelings or impressions about an object or place. However, by recording and evaluating their results over time, they gradually improved their ability to describe things more accurately. One study showed that those who regularly recorded their results and compared them to actual outcomes had higher success rates in remote viewing experiments. 4. Focusing on a specific target. When practicing remote viewing, one of the most important factors is to clearly define the target that you want to see. This could be a specific location, an event in the past or future, or even an object you've never seen. By focusing on a clear target, you help your mind direct itself toward what you need to find. 5. Using support tools. In addition to individual practice methods, there are several tools and techniques that can assist in developing remote viewing ability. One of the common tools is a drawing board or map, where the practitioner can record what they see during the remote viewing process. This tool helps the practitioner easily identify the images they receive and helps them organize these sensations or images in a systematic way. Applications of remote viewing in everyday life. As we begin to understand more about how remote viewing works and how to train for it, the next question is, can this ability be applied in everyday life? 1. Solving problems and making important decisions. One notable practical application of remote viewing is solving problems. When facing important decisions in life, from career choices to financial investments and personal decisions, remote viewing can provide guidance or insights that ordinary senses cannot access. Practitioners of remote viewing believe that through seeing far, they can identify hidden opportunities or warn of potential pitfalls, helping them make better decisions. 2. Improving relationships and building connection. Remote viewing can help us better understand situations and emotions of others, especially in personal relationships. For instance, in a romantic relationship, seeing far can help you understand the thoughts and feelings of your partner, creating empathy and a deeper connection. Many remote viewing practitioners have shared that this ability allows them to sense things that others do not express verbally, which improves communication and reduces misunderstandings. 3. Self-discovery and spiritual growth. In addition to its applications in work and relationships, remote viewing can also help us explore ourselves and foster spiritual growth. Practicing remote viewing helps us access deeper levels of the mind, where memories, emotions, and untapped wisdom reside. Connecting with the unconscious mind can help us better understand our life's purpose, dreams, and aspirations, while also resolving lingering psychological and emotional issues. Conclusion on the applications of remote viewing. Although it is not yet widely recognized within the scientific community, remote viewing is gradually becoming a field of growing interest. In fact, this ability is not some kind of supernatural power, but a latent skill that we can train and develop. Over time, remote viewing could become a useful tool to help us solve problems, explore our inner selves, and enhance our cognitive abilities. What does the future hold for remote viewing? Will this ability be more widely developed and become part of our everyday lives? This question remains open, but one thing is certain. We are beginning to view this ability with a new perspective, an expanded view of the infinite potential of the human mind. Part 5. Challenges in practicing remote viewing and how to overcome them. Psychological and perceptual challenges in remote viewing. When first practicing remote viewing, many individuals face a range of challenges, not only technical but also psychological. Although this method may seem simple, to develop the ability to see far, accurately, and effectively, we must overcome deep psychological barriers, doubts, and resistance within ourselves. In this section, we will analyze common challenges faced by remote viewing practitioners, as well as strategies for overcoming them. 1. Doubts and lack of confidence. One of the biggest challenges for beginners in remote viewing is self-doubt. The ability to see far is still a relatively new concept and has not been widely proven within the scientific community, which causes many people to doubt its feasibility. This skepticism makes it difficult for individuals to maintain patience and trust in themselves, especially when they do not see immediate results. How to overcome it? To overcome this doubt, it is important to practice continuously and patiently. In the early stages, the ability to see far may be vague and inaccurate. However, over time and with practice, you will begin to notice that you can describe increasingly accurate details, even the smallest ones. An effective way to build confidence in your abilities is to record your results and assess their accuracy. Writing down the sensations, images, or information you receive will help you recognize your progress and motivate you to continue developing your abilities. Advice from the masters. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." In the practice of remote viewing, imagination plays a crucial role. Trust in your abilities and continue to nourish your imagination, as it is the key to expanding your perceptual limits. 2. Mental distractions and inner stress. A key factor when practicing remote viewing is the ability to maintain high focus. However, in today's world, filled with distractions, maintaining focus throughout a session can be a significant challenge. Mental distractions, worries about work, personal issues, or simply inner stress can hinder the ability to access information during a remote viewing session. How to overcome it? To address this, meditation is an incredibly useful tool. Meditation helps clear away distractions and re-establish a connection with oneself. When practicing remote viewing, you need to create a quiet, distraction-free space and spend time clearing your mind. Relaxation techniques, such as deep breathing or visualizing peaceful images, can help reduce stress and achieve the mental state necessary to access the unseen layers of information. Advice from researchers. Russell Targ, one of the prominent researchers in the field of remote viewing, shared that one of the key factors for success in remote viewing is the ability to relax both the body and mind. When you relax and reduce stress, it becomes easier to connect with the invisible sources of information, making it more likely that your descriptions of events and locations will be accurate. 3. Distinguishing between real information and imagination. One of the most challenging aspects of remote viewing is distinguishing between real information and mere imagination. When practicing remote viewing, you may receive images or sensations that are vague or unclear. It can be easy to get lost between what is genuinely seen and what is simply your own imagination. How to overcome it? To overcome this, detailed recording and result comparison are crucial. After each session, you need to compare what you've described with actual outcomes, if possible. A helpful tip is not to overthink during the session. Allow the images and sensations to appear naturally without trying to create them. This helps minimize the influence of your imagination on the perceptual process, allowing you to access true images that reside within your mind. Advice from the experts. Carl Jung once said, "The unconscious does not say, 'I am this or that.' It presents the world as images and symbols." In remote viewing, the images or sensations you receive are not always literal. They may be symbolic representations of an event, a person, or a place. Learn to interpret these images, rather than simply viewing them literally. 4. Overcoming perceptual barriers and the limits of the senses. One of the biggest challenges in remote viewing is the limitations of the senses. We are conditioned to perceive the physical world through our senses, such as sight, hearing, touch, and smell. However, remote viewing requires us to extend our perception beyond these senses, which can be difficult for many people. How to overcome it? To overcome this limitation, one method is to develop intuition, the ability to sense information without relying on the ordinary senses. Learning to listen to your inner self and trusting the feelings you receive during remote viewing practice is key. Initially, these feelings may be vague or difficult to grasp, but with time, you will learn to differentiate them and use intuition as a powerful tool to access information. Advice from the masters. Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." To practice remote viewing, you must be willing to go beyond the limits of your senses, expand your perspective, and explore new depths of your perception. This is not only a journey to see far, but also to gain a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Conclusion on overcoming challenges in remote viewing. Remote viewing is not a skill that can be mastered overnight, and there will certainly be many challenges along the way. However, each challenge is an opportunity for self-growth. By overcoming doubts, distractions, perceptual limitations, and trust issues, we can move closer to the ability to expand our intellect and connect with information that lies beyond the physical world. Remember, to practice remote viewing effectively, you need patience, focus, and continuous experimentation. Over time, your abilities will become more accurate and powerful, and you will uncover fascinating hidden potentials within yourself that you never imagined. In the next section, we will explore the practical applications and long-term benefits that remote viewing can bring to our lives, not only in our work, but also in personal development and finding inner peace. Part 6. Practical applications and long-term benefits of remote viewing. 1. The importance of remote viewing in work and research. One of the most fascinating and promising applications of remote viewing is its ability to support research and development across a variety of fields. Researchers and experts in scientific, military, and even spiritual domains have found that remote viewing can help them expand the limits of their perception, accessing information that is typically out of reach. For example, in recent decades, researchers have applied remote viewing in government-funded programs, such as the CIA's Stargate project. This project, initiated in the 1970s and lasting for many years, aimed to use remote viewing to gather intelligence, even in military campaigns. The results of these experiments demonstrated that some individuals were able to describe locations, events, and information accurately, despite being thousands of miles away and having no physical contact. Applications in work. If you are a researcher or work in the field of information analysis, remote viewing can help you access data or clues that you might not be able to obtain through traditional methods. It allows you to tap into unexplored dimensions of information that may never be recorded in reports, documents, or surveys. This not only enhances the efficiency of your work, but also opens new opportunities to solve complex problems you may encounter in your field. 2. Personal growth and spiritual exploration through remote viewing. Remote viewing is not just useful in professional work. It also plays a significant role in personal development and exploring deeper aspects of the soul. Practicing remote viewing requires a high level of self-awareness and the development of spiritual sensitivity. As we expand our awareness, we not only connect with the external world, but also develop a deeper connection with ourselves. As you practice, you will gradually notice changes in the way you perceive the world and life. Remote viewing can help you see events, emotions, or problems more clearly and objectively. For example, when facing difficult issues in work or relationships, remote viewing may help you uncover hidden factors and the deeper causes of a problem that you wouldn't see through conventional reasoning alone. A story of a remote viewing practitioner. There is an interesting story about a remote viewing practitioner named Ingo Swann, one of the pioneers in this field who participated in the CIA's Stargate project. During one of his remote viewing sessions, Ingo accurately described a structure on the moon, information that was impossible to verify with any scientific equipment at the time. What was remarkable is that Ingo didn't just describe the moon, but also described profound sensations related to the space and energy around it. This is a classic example of how remote viewing is not just about seeing from afar, but also about connecting with spiritual dimensions that we normally do not perceive. 3. Improving relationships and resolving conflicts. One lesser-known benefit of remote viewing is its ability to improve relationships and resolve conflicts. By practicing remote viewing, you learn to listen, feel, and understand the deeper emotions and intentions of the people around you without the need for direct contact. This is especially useful in tense or confrontational situations where normal communication can easily lead to misunderstandings. For example, in a heated argument, instead of just listening to the opposing arguments and reacting, you could use your remote viewing skills to gain a deeper understanding of the motives and underlying emotions of the other person. This helps you not only resolve the issue more effectively, but also build stronger, more sustainable relationships. You will learn to view situations from a broader perspective, recognizing the deeper causes of conflict and finding harmonious solutions. 4. Implementing remote viewing in daily life. Tips and experiences. If you want to apply remote viewing in your daily life and work, it's essential to practice and be patient. Start with simple exercises, such as attempting to gather information from a distance within a small scope, like learning about a place or event from the past. Once you feel more confident, you can challenge yourself with more complex tasks, such as exploring future events or gaining insights into complicated personal or professional issues. Another key element is to have a deep connection with yourself. When practicing remote viewing, you need a steady mind and an open spirit to accept whatever information comes. Don't worry too much about achieving perfect accuracy right away, as this ability takes time to develop and refine. Expert advice. Joe McMonigal, one of the leading experts in remote viewing, shared that the most important thing is to be relaxed and open to the experience. Your success will depend on your ability to remain detached and to simply allow the information to come to you. This means that when you practice remote viewing, you should let things unfold naturally, without too much intervention from your rational mind. Conclusion: remote viewing a tool for exploring yourself and the world. Thus, remote viewing is not just a technique for seeing far, but also a powerful tool to help expand the limits of your own awareness. It can be applied in various fields, from scientific research to personal development and improving relationships. From expanding your consciousness to enhancing mental health, remote viewing can provide you with deeper insights into the world around you and yourself. With its practical applications and long-term benefits, remote viewing deserves to be considered one of the most fascinating and potentially powerful tools in the journey of exploring the mysteries of the universe and of the self. So, what do you think about remote viewing? Have you ever tried applying this method? Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We would love to hear your feedback and any interesting stories you have to share. So, we've explored the stories, the research, and the fascinating applications of remote viewing. How do you feel about this ability? Are you ready to explore and expand your awareness to see the hidden aspects of the world around you? If you found this video useful and are excited about similar topics, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing content about the mysteries of the world and the limitless potential within us. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Thank you for watching, and may your journey of discovery be both exciting and enlightening. Peace and wisdom.